Coming up in this episode of Finding Common Ground.
We started out over at a radio station in Winston. And I remember the first episode, and that's my favorite one, by the way. I got him to cry, so that made me feel pretty good.
The good-looking black guy crying. This little old white lady came with a long coat, and she had like 2 or 3 bags of groceries. One of them had toys in it, one of them had food in it, and one of them had fruit in it. That little lady took time away from her family on Christmas Day to come care about some poor little black kids in public housing. So if she can do that, I dare Odell run around here talking about he hates all white people when you know better.
There are 2 sides to every coin.
How do we deal with racial issues when they affect relationships?
Finding common ground on all those issues that we come against.
There's black and there's white.
And I think as Christians, we have to learn how to get together because we're not in heaven.
I've met more interesting people just by God just bringing them in.
Republicans and Democrats.
But a lot of times when it comes to race and it comes to culture and it comes to perception, even as Christians, we don't always understand. We look at it through our lenses.
There's Bill.
I grew up in a suburb of Cleveland called Parma.
Any black people in Palmer?
There was not one.
Not one black person,
Not
Bill?
one.
Come on,
Not
Bill. You
one.
got to have one. A
Nope.
token black person? A token?
And there's Odell.
I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, public housing, single mom, divorced single mom of 4 kids. And I came up through segregation and all that kind of stuff.
If a black person drove through the town, the police would stop and escort them out.
Bill and Odell are finding common ground.
A part of what we have to do is listen to each other, find the common ground, and question, not questioning you like you're on a witness stand, but questioning you for better understanding. Father God, we just say thank you just for being good to this country. God, we continue to say that the United States of America is the greatest country in the world. God, thank you for our democracy. Thank you for the grace and the mercy. And we still say, in God we trust. Amen.
Dear Heavenly Father, just thank you for allowing us to live in the greatest country in the world with the freedoms we have and also with the problems that makes us who we are. And we lift up our leaders and people that are running for office who have committed to put their shoulder to the wheel and help solve problems. Amen.
Can we get a pardon? Can any of us get a pardon? Yeah, can we get a pardon?
Who got pardoned today?
I don't know.
Diddy? Did Diddy get pardoned?
No, he can't. He can't pardon Diddy. He can pardon a lot of people, but Diddy can't get pardoned.
I can see it. Diddy's getting a pardon.
No.
The baby oil lobbyists come in and lobby for him to get a pardon?
No, don't say so. Don't say so.
Oh
Bill, I see it on your face, Bill. Bill, don't say it, Bill. Don't say it.
We have hit a level that I've never seen before.
It's the last show.
I was talking to somebody the other day and we are talking about, what do you do with 1,000 bottles of baby oil? Like fill up your own jacuzzi with it and have it like gurgle or something? I mean, what, put in a, small pool?
Well,
I mean, what do you do with that?
I tried to stop it.
You have Diddy's number.
I can't stop it. So go ahead with the Diddy and what do you think? What do you think, Maverick, about the Diddy trial?
The Diddy trial. I've not followed the Diddy trial.
It's X-rated. We can't talk about it on this show. If you read some of the excerpts, it's pretty graphic.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh.
Yeah. It's not for the faint-hearted.
Okay, so he had challenges.
He's just a freak. And what do they call him? Freak-offs or
freak-offs
or something? I don't.
Yeah,
but the question from political perspective, will he go to jail? Because folks told me he's going to get off. I said, no, he's going to jail. He's going to jail.
It's going to be Jeffrey Epstein. There's other people there. I mean, there's probably a trail of tears behind the Diddy trial. There's people sitting back hoping their names don't get mentioned.
Yeah, you don't need that.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get an invite, nor would I have went if I had an invite. It's crazy, man.
You sounded a little butthurt over there.
Well, I'm just saying, it just kind of got my, hey, if Elon could be butthurt, it's like, listen,
baby oil.
I don't know, man. It's just crazy. The things, and the thing about this guy was so powerful, so successful on the outside looking in. And it kind of reminds me, not in a crazy way, so audience, don't go off on me yet. Listen to me first, please. it's like America. We have so much good, but that doggone debt load, that debt is scary when you sit down and think about it.
But why is this an issue now? I mean, it all of a sudden it became an issue. And believe me, the great beautiful bill or whatever it is, it's I'm sure it's as bad as everybody says. But like all of a sudden it's an issue now. Like this has been the issue going all the way back to Ross Perot. I mean, he's been talking about our national debt. We've been talking about this since 1992. It's 2025.
Yeah.
So why is it an issue now?
We had a balanced budget and we didn't have
Clinton.
Clinton had it done. We didn't have any.
My hero. Bring him back. Bring Bubba back.
Yeah.
You do have to love Trump's branding, though. Big, beautiful bill. I mean, he does come up with some catchy lines that kind of stick. We're sitting here.
Beautiful.
I mean, we all know. When's the last time you knew what a bill was called, right? I mean, so he's like, what this is big. He doesn't even have, you don't even have to remember it. You just know big, beautiful bill.
Right.
I mean, and it's alliteration too. So, I mean, it's nice.
Yeah.
Does a good job with that.
Yeah. He's good at branding. There's no doubt about it.
I like all his nicknames for people too.
Oh yeah. Remember when he first
Do you
started
think Elon's going to get a nickname?
It's interesting. I think that President Trump has all kind of respect for Elon Musk.
I think it's
I
his
think so,
people.
too.
It's his handlers that don't like Elon.
Yeah. And that happens, it's just jealousy and everything else. And to your point, let's say something good, because Odell's not an Elon fan, but let's say something good about Elon. Let's say something good about the entrepreneurs who take the chance and opportunity. Let's talk about one in our city. Let's talk about Roy Carroll, all the great things Roy is doing. Let's talk about the Maverick, all the great things the Maverick's doing. Let's talk about Kelly, what Kelly's doing. Let's talk about what Bill's doing. Let's talk about what the good-looking black guy Odell is doing. Andy Zimmerman. We have some good guys. So what's in the heart, Maverick, of a person like Roy Carroll who's willing to put his money on the line and do big things?
Well, I think it's a connection with Greensboro. I think, it's kind of a start there. It's hard to see. You don't see as many people coming in from out of town, kind of big companies coming in to, or like in development at least, to come in and kind of make a stake here. You see some, but not much. But you get the Coreys of the world, the Roys of the world that have connections to the area and are willing to make those investments. Probably not that they would evaluate all the cities in the country and pick Greensboro, but because they have a connection, they're willing to, and they're willing to spend big money. And, I think that we get, or the David Couches of the world, a lot of people are criticizing him, but very few people would go into Summerfield and make the sort of investment in those specialized developments he's planning. And they're outside the box. But, I think that's the frustrating thing is those of us that have traveled, have seen a lot of things around the world, we want to bring back to Greensboro like explorers. And then sometimes it's just tough to do that because it's kind of a small town mentality.
Well, I heard Bill, and help me please, that Summerfield might have to raise their taxes to even continue to keep their charter to be a town.
Oh, Summerfield?
Yeah.
Yeah, they proposed that. So Summerfield's got some political issues.
That is the worst idea imaginable. I mean, imagine that where you say, we haven't provided any services to the people who live in the area, and we're being called out on it. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to raise taxes and do something that's already being done by Guilford County already.
Correct.
I mean, you're creating, that's the definition to me of a bureaucracy. You create this need for yourself when you're not needed. And it's just a self-important role. I think it's a horrible idea. And they should just let Guilford County run things. Frankly, I think we should merge more cities and towns together, kind of like Leakesville, Spray, and Draper did, turned into Eden.
Yeah.
I think you could have a Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem that merges together, and then we're competitive. And then we don't, or even just Greensboro and High Point merge together, and you wouldn't have the threat of being passed and becoming the fourth or fifth largest city, which we're going to become real soon.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen. But we are getting all these companies coming here. I just read that I think Amazon's going to build a data center down in outside of the Triad, and they're going to put $10 billion in for it's all AR, 500 jobs. That's a big thing. And then if we get the Fast Jet, I think it's called, coming.
Boom jet?
No, this is another one. This is a commercial airliner that has a wide fuselage, and you sit in the wings. Actually,
yeah, I think it's either I think it's Jet Zero.
Jet Zero,
and
that's it.
That's what Senator Robinson
kind of let out of the bag.
So I think that's that one, 10,000 jobs, which would be a huge deal.
Yeah, it's basically another Boeing.
Yeah,
But
what's nice is our airport, which we've all been frustrated by because we have to fly through somewhere else to go somewhere. Now it's becoming an asset because it's a great business hub for us.
Yeah, and it's also, we have all this land there that they, if somebody wants to come in and build jets, we've got the facility.
And credit to our legislature. The part of it is changing the regulations, making it easier for people to come in and invest, and making the tax environment favorable for people to come invest too.
Yep.
I mean, that's a huge part of why these jobs are coming.
Yeah, it started with Honda Jet. Thank you, Robbie Perkins.
Yeah, it did. You're right. Honda Jet, and then Volvo was here. Volvo had brought Mack Truck down, so they were here. But I was looking at our downtown compared to Winston-Salem. Now Winston-Salem's kind of a ghost town now because the banks left, and Haynes is not what it was, and tobacco isn't what it was. But they have some huge buildings over there.
Have you been downtown Winston? It's really happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity down there. And I don't know if it's driven by Wake Forest University or if it's just people.
Well, they put an investment down there with that entrepreneurship area.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in and of itself, I think Winston is way past Greensboro and downtown.
Yeah, activity. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
So I think your listeners would want to know, in the time that we have remaining, about your 217 episodes and your favorite episodes or shows, and then also kind of the closing out of the chapter, what your next steps are, what you're going to do with that extra 20 to 30 hours you've got normally invested in.
Yeah, it's a great question, Marty.
I think the best thing is that me and Bill are very good friends, and we love each other, and that's the essence of it. And at the point of, I just retired a couple weeks ago, and I'm more busy now running my personal business than anything else. But I love the show. I love what we do. I think my favorite episode would probably be the gentleman who, when Ukraine just was getting bombed, and we had a gentleman who was live from Ukraine, and I had no idea that whole Ukraine thing would still be going on to this day, Bill.
Yeah.
I really just had no idea. I'm going to take a little quick sidestep. Josh Stein, Harvard grad, and I was on Social Nets the other day, and I saw a post by Mark Robinson, and he was going off about reparations and people getting reparations. And I'm thinking he's talking about black people. That's kind of how this go. And I looked at the audience who just jumped in there, and it's like red meat, and they just jumped on it. And I'm like, dog, who's talking about reparations? It's just to the point. And me and Bill talk about subjects and individuals and politics, and we've been doing it long enough to see people come and people go. But one thing about it, whether it's the Mark Robinsons of the world or anybody else, folks don't want to go. So folks will do things, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and say things to rile up people. But at the same time, it comes back. So the beautiful thing about the show is the fact that we've been able to find common ground, and a lot of people have been able to find common ground. Do we always agree on everything? No, we don't. The worst part I hated about the show over the years, when my friend was being attacked when he was running for school board. I thought some of that was ridiculous, but I was right there with him. So if you're going to fight him, you're going to fight both of us. And if we get beat up, then both of us going to get beat up.
Yeah, no, you're well said. Well said. Yeah. I think it's 214 or 217 episodes in 4 years. It's a long time commitment.
Yes.
At one point we were doing 2 shows a week.
Yes.
And
wow.
Yeah. That was really, I think we had first 3 months, because we had so many guests that we wanted to bring on. Our first guest was Chief Justice Paul Newby, and he came on and talked. And then Mark Walker came over. We started out over at a radio station in Winston, Truth Talk Live or something.
Mm-hmm. Stu Epperson. Stu!
Yeah. And I remember the first episode. That's my favorite one, by the way. I got him to cry, so that made me feel pretty good.
The good-looking black guy crying.
He's sensitive.
Yeah, he is. Get some of that baby oil.
I think.
It's that crocodile tears.
Oh, no comment. No comment. No comment. No
Crocodile
comment.
tears.
Okay.
So I guess the question is, have you found common ground? Have you found what you were seeking? I think you have.
I
Yeah.
think it's a great question. As you reflect on it after all that time, I think we have, and we've seen it in our guests a lot. That was always, we asked one guy who was an F-18 fighter pilot and Top Gun guy. He happened to be my cousin and or nephew, and we asked him, "How do you find common ground?" And he goes, "Well, in a cafe over a cup of wine or a latte." He says, "I sit with anybody, and we seem to get along."
Yeah, I think it's kind of sad because I think you guys are calling it quits at a time where more than ever we need to find common ground. I mean, I don't think the world has ever been so diabolically split. I mean, like polar split. And so I think the world needs more Bills and Odells to sit down and have the tough conversations and the conversations about how we do kind of come back together and what that looks like.
I think you've both moderated your positions, listening to each other a fair amount. You start with this idea that you're so different, and that's kind of the premise of the show. And I think over time, y'all have gotten more and more close in your viewpoints and more aligned.
Very well said.
And so, maybe there's not as much of that, red meat drama of the two, categorically, opposed extremes. And so, yeah, I think you've found common ground.
Yeah, because if you
found common ground and now you have that, it's less of a thing. Now you have to find some new thing that.
You guys actually need to get. If you guys got angry with each other, it might be better for ratings.
He's gonna become a Republican. He said after this show.
The devil is a liar. but let's say this. We've had Ted Budd on the show. He's a senator now. We've had, of course, Congressman Mark Walker on the show. We've had Mayor Nancy Vaughn. We have potential next mayor, Robbie Perkins or Mary Kay. We've had a lot of people on the show over the years, and it's interesting. You remember the Ted Budd interview?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was funny. He came in, good dude, just a good dude. We've had Skip Austin. We've had a lot of people. Rabbi Andy,
Joshua McGee.
That's what I was thinking about. And Rabbi Gutman. So we've had a lot of people on the show, and we've had the Maverick, and we have Kelly on the show. So it is what it is. And you got beat up a little bit for Greensboro Day School on a couple comments, but you handled it well. You'd be surprised.
What did you get beat up on?
Oh, let's not even go back there. Point taken.
Place you don't want to revisit.
No, we don't have to look back. You and I already have common ground.
There you go.
Yeah, that can be the other thing now is you could moderate. You could go on other people's shows and moderate and help them find common ground.
Yeah.
Be like common ground ambassadors.
Who's the guy, Joe
Rogan?
Yeah, I mean, we're welcome. He can invite us anytime.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Now, he does a long show. Y'all going to have to stretch from that hour to 3 hours to go on his show.
Well, the way we're working, he'll do the first hour, I'll do the second, and then we'll do a third hour together.
There you go. But it's been a joy. It's been a joy, and we love the feedback from the listeners, and it's just been good. And the thing about it is, it's nice to leave when people want to encore. It's not nice to leave when they kicking you out. It's always nice to leave on your own terms. I think there's something there. Well said. To be here with my good friend Bill and my other friends, this is good because we wanted you all to be on this final show because just different perspectives. It's interesting. We've all been very successful in our life, but we've all been attacked. Marty, national news, Bill, Odell, I mean, what's the secret of being attacked, but not tucking tail and turning around and running?
Yeah, I think you've got to just be comfortable in your own skin, and you got to be comfortable. You got to understand not everybody's going to like what you do. And I think there are some people out there that want to please everyone and they wind up pleasing no one, or they just take no position at all. And you've got to be willing to take those arrows, and you got to be comfortable enough in that. But also, if you learn something new, you may change your mind, you may adjust. but not getting rattled. You know, there's a guy that used to work with me that was in the Marines, and his comment was "Stay frosty." You know,
What does that mean? Stay frosty.
Keep your cool. Keep your
Keep
cool,
it cool.
under pressure, that you don't get rattled.
Is that like butt hurt? Stay frosty.
No,
butt
it's
hurt?
the opposite of butter.
Oh, okay, okay, my bad.
So stay frosty is
Okay, I don't know.
you're
About
not getting
getting rattled. Yeah.
You got incoming fire, whatever. You're still you're chill.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Goebel, sir, are you frosty?
I think you need to ask Mrs. Goebel that.
How do you feel now that the election is over, sir? How was the play, Mr. Lincoln?
I'm glad election's over. It gave me a lot more time, quite frankly. We've been busy with both companies are doing well and nonprofits doing good. We got a couple hurdles there. You know, I turned 75 next month.
Wow.
So it's time for me to start dialing back a couple things.
So what's next now that you have less time devoted to this? You're not running for office, right?
I'm going to be a real estate developer.
There you go. Come on in. The water's fine.
And then sell furniture on the side.
I don't know.
Your get rich slow scheme.
Yeah.
Odell, how about you? What's your next?
You know, it's interesting. I am currently retired, as I stated, and I signed a contract with the nonprofit development organization I helped put together that's from the church. And I'm spending a lot of time putting deals together. I had no idea really the essence of when you're sitting in conversations talking about millions of dollars. I mean, literally millions of dollars, and nobody in the room is even blinking. And it's all coming together. And the question people ask, Odell, why would you be involved in something where you all are building a healthcare medical office building? And this is East Greensboro, i.e. the black part of town. You're going to partner and do a 20 some odd $1 million facility there. And then you're going to do a senior center, you know, about close to 300 something occupancy. And then you do some townhouses. Why would you do all those things on the black part of town? And I was in a meeting yesterday, the whole thing of when you have to petition to get annexed and rezoning. And I was in the meeting and I asked the question. I said, 1927 was the last time a major healthcare facility was built on the black part of town in Greensboro. And now this next facility will be built in 2027. So I said 100 years. And so I asked the audience in there for the town hall meeting, how long? And in the black church is like, how long, Lord? How long should we wait for justice? How long should we wait? And the call and response of the black church, I love it. And when I said how long, and everybody's like, not long. And so when you can bring something like a medical office building, 40,000 square foot ambulatory care system in there, and now people in a certain part of town doesn't have to get into a EMS and ride to the other part of town. And the question is, how many people don't make it to the other part of town, to the hospital? A lot of people die on the way. And the question is, on certain parts of town, the zip code determines how you live, how long you live. So Odell is all into building and planting trees that I know I'm not going to sit under. I know that long time from now, X amount of years, people won't even know who Odell Cleveland is. But I could go to my grave feeling good about what we're trying to do to help people who haven't even been born yet. So that's what I'm excited about now. Right. I'm excited about trying to make a difference, but also getting paid.
You know, you may wind up becoming a Republican as you start getting into certificate of need being eliminated, because that is a big part of it, right? When they restrict the number of beds or services that can be offered in a certain area, then it tends to concentrate in certain areas instead of it being a free market that opens up and lets more people enter in. But you were talking about the how long callback. Now you're going to be saying, how long until I get my permits? How long until I get a revision on this?
Yeah.
How long is it going to take to put that roof out there? How long is that site work going to last?
Yeah.
Welcome to development. How long?
Yeah.
And it's cost. It's very expensive to, you have the right attorneys, lawyers, advisors, engineers. It's very expensive, but it's more expensive not to have them.
Yeah. And pretty soon you're going to be joining Trump calling Paulson to drop interest rates, huh?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Huh?
Your budget's going to be out the window.
Who's
Interest
Trump?
rates. You're going to, how
Huh?
long is my interest?
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden, Odell's going to become a Trumper. I agree. We need to lower interest rates.
Listen, I'm calling Elon to bring the what's that thing he had? The chainsaw. Bring the chainsaw, or at least bring the copper tone.
Yeah. No, Odell's got his plate full. There's no doubt about it. It's good stuff that they're doing over there. When they announced it that we were at his church with him at Christmas time, they talked to the congregation, and it's quite a complex. I mean, there's housing on it. There's a performing arts center. There's conference rooms. So there's a lot to it. It's just not the medical center.
So what are the next 3 big things you need to happen for your development?
I think the main thing is the realization that the cavalry was not coming to this part of town. The cavalry wasn't coming. And when I say that, and I'm not trying to be flippant, is just the fact that the big thing to need to happen is people need to believe in themselves. Secondly, we need to get the zoning passed from city council, and that's going well. And the third thing is just to continue to believe. I just think that, like, each of us around this table, we believe that we can get things done. It's some people in this city who don't believe anything. They don't believe in themselves. They don't have the self-assurance. They don't have the confidence in themselves. And it's like, I'm a victim. And I just think a victim mentality is not good. It's scary.
You're starting to sound like a Republican.
Yeah.
It's getting scary. He found common ground, and at the end,
he's going Republican. Then I'm going
fellow
Democrat.
that was on the show not too long ago that had that message about the community supporting itself and the cavalry isn't coming concept. What was his name?
Scott. You're right. He viewed it. So we got to enable ourselves and do it ourselves. We can't be waiting for people to do it for us.
He had some really refreshing concepts.
He did.
Yeah.
He was a deep thinker. And I guess when you spend time in prison, you get time to think. But he was there for a number of years before he got pardoned.
Yeah, because bank robberies. Right?
Yeah. And you give the money take it from the white people and give it to the black people community.
Like a Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Sorts.
Yeah. And
he could have given me some. I don't discriminate.
Yeah, there you go, Robin from the Hood. I like that.
You know what? That's kind of funny. I shouldn't be laughing, but you know that is kind of funny though. Robin from the Hood. Boy, instead of Robin Hood, Robin from you know what? I tell you what, man. That's a Bill Goebel special there. Yeah. Robin from the Hood. But
Maverick said it.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, you know what?
Let me give you a Maverick cell phone too.
Craig Scott. Listen, Craig's a good guy.
Africa.
There you go. Yeah. Black Africa. Yeah, there you go. Hey, Craig Scott is a good gentleman. I like Craig. He's a good guy. Is a real good, strong thinker, and he believes in what he believes in. And I think that, everyone can believe what they will believe in. I think that this next turnover in the local politics, because all politics are local, we're going to have a new mayor. We're going to have the whole city council swing. I don't know about Guilford County. How's that going? And Mr. Goebel, do you know anything about the school board race? So the question is, Mr. Goebel, have you made your mind up yet, sir? Are you going to run for school board?
Got 3 years, so we'll see. Right now, I've got my training business is up almost 200% for the first 4 months of this year, and so that's a wildcat I got to hang on to, and I've got to find resources to handle that growth. And then the fractional CFO is exploding in Raleigh.
Oh, wow.
So I need to get that going. We have some clients and a number of clients. In fact, I'll tell you, I met the most remarkable woman yesterday.
Whoa.
Businesswoman.
Okay. Don't start that. Miss Goebel's listening. Don't y'all start no stuff. It won't be no stuff.
I told Dory about it. So
okay. Well, go ahead.
Staying frosty is going to be a different meaning.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, I'll show you frosty.
Well, she found us on the internet, and she said, would you come to Smithfield? That's where our office is. And I looked up her company, and they do I couldn't understand what they did. They do coatings on the outside of buildings, commercial and residential. And they have offices in, I think, maybe 10 offices in North Carolina, South Carolina. She's moving into Georgia. So she just found us on the internet. So I called her up, and and her name is Maggie. I won't give her last name, but Maggie said, "Yeah, come on over." And we talked for about an hour on the phone, and I could tell this girl was really sharp. And so I went over, and she'd been in that job 2 years as the CEO, and had grown it significantly. She was in the company, but not the CEO.
Mhm.
And so first thing she has a clean desk, and she hands me a term sheet for a line of credit. And she says, "Hey, I got a question on this line of credit." And she said, I'm not bought up in business, and some of these things I need some help with. And he said, "I call my dad and he could do it, but he's on a boat and I don't want to bother him." But, look at they saying I have to have a positive EBITDA. In my company, that's not going to be possible because we're growing so fast. We're going to go up and down, up and down. So I don't want to be locked into that. And so we talked a little, and I happened to look at the amount of the line of credit. It was $10 million. And I said, "Well, how big's your company?" She says, "Oh, we're just pushing 124 million. And we're the fastest growing company in the Triangle." And so she started talking about her family. Her family owns a bunch of businesses, her dad does. And he's been their bank. And he says, "We're very liquid. So money I don't have to worry about borrowing. But I wanted to get a big line of credit so that I could give my dad back some of the money that he gave us to start." She owns 80% of the company. The 20% is in a trust, of which she owns an eighth. And she had all these ideas. She wants to be $1 billion company in 10 years. And
Wow.
she says, "I don't know if I need to franchise. I don't need, if I know how to grow to that." So I have a bunch of CFOs over there, and I have one that's really, really good. Speaks 5 languages. He was with Chase Manhattan, and he sent around the world to fix companies that they bought. Kid's brilliant. And I figured, boy, with her energy and his knowledge, it's a home run. So he's going to meet her next week. But then I looked, she talked to her, we started talking about, she went to NC State, and her dad got a degree of engineering at NC State. I think she did too. And so I said, "Well, my buddy Lonnie Poole gave some money to NC State. She knew him. He gave 40 million. And so the country club and the business school's named after him." She says, "Oh, my dad gave 20.
Wow.
I was like, "Whoa, okay." And so this girl, I'm so excited to be working with her, alongside of her, because she is a visionary, and she's got the energy, and she's got the financial resources to accomplish that. And
It's nice to help somebody grow like that.
yeah, I'm excited to be part of it with Quack and I. And that's what I want to do with Focus CFO. Every company we're involved in has some kind of issue. Your companies do. My company does.
Right.
I don't have enough qualified trainers. So, you figure out, business people figure out how to do it. You figured out how to deal with tariffs. Okay. You figured out how to deal with a railroad. So, one of the things us business people do is we know there's going to be obstacles.
For the record, Marty did much better with the railroads than I did with tariffs.
I think 54, 53, 55 million.
Talking about something the other day about how, you run into challenges, and someone was saying, "Well, is it ever easy?" I'm like, "No, it's not easy. It's just different problems that come up.
Different problems, yeah.
And I think over time, you just learn that it's, the whole idea of if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. You just have different things that are going to pop up. You have to deal with it and then adjust.
Well, but I think I've learned that sitting at tables talking about millions of dollars, old boy, poor boy from the dirt roads and the back roads of South Carolina, sitting at those tables and knowing that you belong there. And I think the whole idea of trying to find a win for everybody at the table, that's the key. Because usually you come out in business, me thinking that, okay, I'm gonna win and somebody else could lose, kind of like playing sports. But in business, the deals, and when everybody wins, we keep doing business together. And your trust and the fact that people trust you enough to have you at those tables makes a big difference, because everybody's winning, and that's the good thing. That's what I've learned about business. But it's the same thing, whether it's millions and millions of dollars, or you talking about little, but you don't have so much time. So if you don't have to Bill's point, I try not to do business with people I don't like, or we don't get along, or people I don't trust. Don't want to deal with all that. And I'd rather go someplace where I'm celebrated and not where I'm tolerated.
I think it's a great point, Odell.
I heard Ricky Williams use that same. I was just listening to a
He
podcast.
probably got it from me.
Yeah, that was really clever. Yeah.
Yeah, having that, you get a sense sometimes when you're dealing with people like, oh, I am not looking forward to being in business with this person long term. You know, how they're working. And, you know, I've turned down deals before. I'm like, you know, I'm just not worth it because it's going to be a problem at some point. And
You can see it. You can
I'd
see
rather
it.
not get into that situation.
Yeah, I had a guy today that wanted to get involved. He wanted us to help our nonprofit help his. And, you know, he had a great idea. And then he wanted me to mentor him. And he's a great guy. He's a great guy. But I just don't have the bandwidth to do something like that. I know I disappointed him. But, you know, sometimes you got to be just honest with him and just not let him think that, oh, yeah, he's going to be doing that. And he's going to help me run my nonprofit because I don't know how to do it. Great guy, but it's just not in the cards.
But Bill, you learn it's better to disappoint other people than disappoint yourself.
Oh yeah, we're trying to do it all.
Yeah, I've learned that.
Yeah.
I've said no to stuff because people will come and you with their backpack of problems and take it off of them and put it on you, walk away and call you and just blow you up on the phone. Have you fixed my problem yet? Have you fixed my problem yet? Fixed my problem yet? And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I just offered to hold your backpack for you. I didn't know I have to own your life problems now.
Yeah.
And that sounds horrible, but it's true. People will do that.
I have found with really good people, you know, people you want to be around, people you trust, almost like the more you put out there, the more you get back.
Yes.
So when you're around
Yes.
good people that care about someone other than themselves and you say, hey, Bill, you know, you have a problem. How can I help you? Then they want to help you back. Now, there are some people, if you say that and they're like, yeah, what else can you do for me? Those are the people you don't want to be around.
Amen.
Hey, shout out to my people.
Yeah.
Shout out to all my people in Abbeville, South Carolina. Abbeville, South Carolina. This is the last show, but shout out to all my good people in Abbeville, South Carolina. If you don't know about Abbeville, you need to check out. And if you don't know, you just don't know. You better ask somebody.
Now, what are some of the different, you've used different words and phrases from the South.
Geeky.
From South.
Geeky.
Geeky language and other stuff. What are some of your favorite geeky terms?
This is one of my favorite prayers. You know what I done ya for? I ain't got to tell ya.
Sounds like you came to Jamaica.
That in English?
Jamaica.
It's a prayer of Geechee Gullah prayer. Geechee Gullah goes back to our ancestors' slavery. And what they were saying when they say, you know what I done ya for? I ain't got to tell you. What they're saying is, God, you know why I'm down here on my knees. I don't have to tell you. And another one is, you dig your grave with your teeth. You dig your grave with your teeth. So it's saying you are digging your grave with your teeth. Your teeth is the shovel, and you're killing yourself by what you're eating when you know you're not supposed to eat certain things and you're eating. So you're digging your grave with your teeth. And we say teeth. And we say you're a thief. A thief means you are a thief. So that's some of the Geechee Gullah that I love. And I really love about Low Country. I love my ancestry. I love it all. I endure it and I see it as strength. When I go into big meetings, I tell my ancestors, come in this meeting with me. It's going to be hard. And I'm just a weird, good-looking black guy.
I was watching something with the Dalai Lama the other day that had kind of the Geechee mentality where he was saying, you know, someone asked him, how do you deal with, you know, bad thoughts that come in and you're having to deal with it? And he said, well, you know, the first step is if you're not looking inward, but you're looking outward and how you can kind of the world around you and how you can help other people, you're trying to give rather than take, you'll have less of that.
Wow.
And then he also said, you know, it's also about the perception, how you perceive the world, because most of the time people are seeing things that aren't really the problem that they are. It's just how they're viewing them. And they're seeing kind of the worst instead of seeing the best.
Yeah, their lenses, you know, that's the thing. All four of us have a different set of lenses based on our experience and life. And the beauty of the show was that we brought different life visions in, different set of lenses that people could articulate, and it added value. You know, I love having you two guys on the show because not only is it fun, but it's educational. You know, I learned things from each of you. I learned stuff from Odell or every one of our podcasts. So I'll miss that for sure.
I think you should have your editors go back through and pull out the best of, you know, liners or quotes or little things out of those 217 episodes and put them together that'd be fun for someone to
Yeah.
listen to a reel of that.
Yeah,
That'd be neat.
because there's some hysterical moments
Yeah.
in it, and some also touching moments. Like when I got Odell to cry, and in the
Odell, what did you
show.
cry about?
I don't remember. I'm sure it was something about. Bill, do you remember?
Yep, I do.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, our first show.
Somebody told him he wasn't good looking.
He'd start breaking down crying.
Yes,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh. No, it was our first show, and I remember the radio station. The guy who owned it had a guy on that did a lot of podcasts and radio. So he sat there in the room with us. He wasn't on the show, and we didn't know what we were doing. We had a couple things we wanted to talk about, and so they kept us to I think there was a time limit of 30 minutes or something.
Yes.
And so because it was radio, they're going on. So we did the show, and after we got done, we did a debrief with him and the owner. And the guy said, they don't need any coaching. They're fine. Just let them do what they're doing. And so what happened is Odell and I were talking about me growing up in Parma, but him growing up in Charleston, and how his mom didn't have any money, so they didn't have any Christmas presents or food. And a church lady showed up on Christmas Day.
Yes, I remember that. What was this? It was the fact that my mother was working and we were
And
living in public
she had
housing.
already had the stroke, right?
No, before she had the stroke, but right at that time she was working, and we just didn't have anything. Just a bad Christmas. We had nothing, and she went down to the Salvation Army, and she met this white woman down there, and the person says, "I'm sorry, we already had the list, And she said, "I'll see what I could do." And mommy came home and said, "Well, it's nothing they could do, but they'll see." So that whole Christmas Eve, I'm little boy on the couch looking out the window, wanting somebody to come. Nobody came. Christmas morning, this little old white lady came with a long coat, and she had like 2 or 3 bags of groceries. One of them had toys in it, one of them had food in it, and one of them had fruit in it. And so that's the kind of experience you have in life where Odell can't grow up hating white people, because that little lady took time away from her family on Christmas Day to come care about some poor little black kids in public housing. So if she can do that, I dare Odell run around here talking about he hates all white people when you know better.
Oh, we're
That's
all going to
probably
cry
what it
now.
was.
Odell. You're
Jeez.
we're picturing little Odell, and
Hey,
That's-
isn't that's what life about our experiences?
yeah.
It's an amazing story.
How can you hate when you know better? You know better. You've had personal experience. Yeah, you just know better.
You have to believe in this world that there's more good than bad. I mean, if you don't, then
Exactly.
you lose all hope. And so, I mean, stories like that. It's funny because my daughter just got back from Costa Rica last night. I was coming back. My daughter was coming back from Costa Rica. My son was coming back from Europe, and we kind of almost all landed at the same time. And she was telling me stories, and she was telling me a story about how they went and visited a school, and how the school had 100 kids, and the school only had 2 teachers.
Wow.
And so, like, she couldn't comprehend that there was, that there was places on this earth. But that's how sheltered sometimes we are. And the stories that you tell about not growing up with privilege, that they need to be told, not to shame people or make them feel bad for what they have, but just to people to understand that you can still rise from that. Look at everything that you've accomplished, from hoping that you might get a present to now you can buy anything that you want. You represent the American dream. Now you sound like a Republican.
We're blessed, and me and my wife, we talk about it a lot, that we've been blessed, and usually takes 2 or 3 generations to get from being dirt poor poverty to financial stability, kind of where we are right now. But God saw fit to, bless us, and all we
Open
did,
doors.
yeah,
Open doors.
we just put our head down and just kept working. Man, my grandfather taught me something, and we won't end on this, but something he told me. He said, "Hey, if you clean a toilet, you clean that toilet so that whoever it is, the next day when they come in that office and sit on that toilet, in their mind, they're going to be like, ooh, we got somebody different." Now, was that the best way for him to teach me? Well, that's the way he taught me to work. He just said, you just go and work. Don't look for handouts. Look for hand-ups, and you just keep working, and you don't judge people. And I think a lot of times in America, black, white, race gets in the way. Now, I'm not saying racism don't exist. I think it exists just like the air. However, if I walk in a room and three white guys in the room laughing, let's not assume they're laughing at me. You ain't even paying me no attention. That kind of stuff. So that's the lessons that my grandfather taught me that I was able to bring down with me. So those are things I'm trying to teach my grandson and my granddaughter. And that's why I love this show. We laugh the way it opened up. Bill, it ain't no black people in Palm, not even a token black person, token black person. And Bill said if they stop the car, they take you to take a black person out of town. All that stuff to make you think that here these two people gonna be going to each other about race, but we love each other.
You sure you want to call it quits? That sounds like it almost sounds like you guys are convincing yourselves that there's still a message out there.
Nah, it's time to quit. It's time to quit because we love the encore.
What's next?
Yeah. God opens doors and closes doors. And I just feel he's closing this door for now. And he'll open another one. I don't know what it is, but when you get that feeling, you just got to follow it. Because if you don't, then you get stale or things don't work the same. So I just felt it's time to do that. It's interesting when I was asked, I struggled with homeless men. I just didn't understand them. They scared me. They smelled. I just didn't understand. And so I kind of stayed away from that whole scene. And I said, it's not something I want to get involved in. And then I get a call one day. I get invited to a golf tournament. And it's for a friend's house, which is a homeless shelter for men. They find guys at Urban Ministry and they take them into this house that somebody donated. And if they want to help themselves, they give them a hand up. They'll help them with if they're on drugs or if they've got medical issues or if they got legal issues and they need a job. And we rehabbed a few people, but not a great success rate. So anyhow, I went to this golf tournament and I had a great time, but the golf tournament was not well run. And so I went to the guy who ran it, who was the director of the ministry, and he basically was a choir director. So he didn't have any business background. I said, would you let me run this for you and see if I can raise more money and organize a little better? So I started getting involved in it, and we were raising $40,000 or $50,000 for them, which was a big number. Mm-hmm. And he said, would you like to be on the board? And I had never been on a board before, so I accepted. So God opened the door for me to be on this board with homeless men that I didn't want anything to do with. And then when we started that ministry went for a while, and I just got that stale feeling that we needed to merge with another ministry because we were struggling with director and a whole bunch of issues. And I said, there's another ministry here. It's really going gangbusters. We could give them our $50,000 and merge and really do a better job. Well, the board members didn't want to do that. So guess what happened? The building that we used that was donated burned down.
Wow.
We didn't have insurance. We lost our director. We had some clients, but we had nobody to run it. Like all these things started falling apart, and it became obvious that we should have merged. And then after that, God opened the door for me to become a youth pastor, if you will, for Westover with high school kids, where they would stay with me from the 9th grade to the 12th grade. They'd be over here twice a week, or I'd meet them here or we meet them at the church. And I did that for 16 years. And God started closing that door. And I said, what do you want me to do next? And then he got me into Boy Scouts. And that, that story. And that's kind of come to an end. And then we did the podcast, Odell and I, and now I'm getting to the point, okay, it's feeling right to shut down now. Never say never, but it just feels like the right time. And there may be something else.
Well, you think about like TV shows or series, they are typically for a time. They don't last forever. It's, a certain point. And again, I think y'all have found common ground. So the original premise of the show was that you were so different and then you were trying to find common ground and you found common ground. So, yeah.
Or you just realized you were more alike than you ever thought, maybe.
Yeah. 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 It's a good way to look at it, Kelly, because we are. I mean, the four of us have tremendously different backgrounds. And, but look at this, sitting around the table having a good time. The only thing we need is some bourbon.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Okay. Well, on that note, we're going to go around the table and everyone says their last words and we'll go from there. So I just want to start by just saying, Bill, we love you. This has been a great experience. Maverick, thank you so much for coming on. Kelly, I mean, you just a blast. It's been nice. It's been nice, and then my life is enriched with you all. Kelly, it's on you, sir.
Oh, those are kind words. No, it's really been a pleasure to be a part of the show. I mean, even for a short time, it's just gone back and listened to old. In fact, we were driving yesterday or on Tuesday we drove from Greensboro to Tampa with some samples, and you got to kill time, and so we listened to a bunch of the old episodes, just scrolling through to see interesting people, all the interesting people that you guys had on the show over the years, and to be a part of it has been a great privilege, and I thank you both for inviting me the very very first time, and it's been a pleasure to get to know Marty and
The Maverick.
the Maverick.
The Maverick.
I think you guys are special, and I'm sure, greatness will follow you in whatever pursuits that you go for next. You're both very young at heart, even though you're talking about retirement and Bill said he's 75, which I really don't believe. I really don't believe that. You guys still have a lot of life and a lot of great ideas in front of you, and I hope and wish you nothing but the best in wherever it leads you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Maverick.
You. Thank you.
Well, I just want to say thank y'all for doing 217 shows. That is a Herculean lift. I mean, that is a lot of shows to do. Like I said, I made it through like 4 getting those done, and that was too much, and I've got like 10 more recorded that I haven't even gotten, out of the can yet. So I really appreciate what y'all have done with that, and all, being there for entertaining your audience and all the hard work that goes in that for someone to click and have a free chance to kind of be part of a conversation. And what I really like about the podcast format is us sitting here with these mics and the headphones on, and we hear each other and we're attuned to exactly what each other is saying. And so often when you go to like dinner out, or you're out in a group or something, it may be loud in there. My hearing going these days as I get older, you can't hear someone as well. And, maybe different things are going on and people aren't tuned in, but here everybody's focused on what the other one is saying. And that's becoming a lost art of having these conversations and really listening. So thank you for doing that. And, y'all have really, brought a lot of light on a lot of different issues and exposed me to a lot of different perspectives, both by being on your show, but also listening to your show and hearing different perspectives and, being surprised by some of the different guests and what they have to say. And I just want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you for being on the show. First off, I want to acknowledge my love for my buddy. This show, in my mind, has brought us much closer together than we started. At one point he asked me, he said, this was probably maybe the second year into the 4 years, maybe first year. He said, could you have done this 5 years ago with me? I said, no, I could not. I wasn't prepared for it. And so that's really brought me to understand Odell and Bev, and share the friendship and the love, and bring guests in like you two guys that add another dimension and a lot of energy to the show. I personally am going to miss it, but I know that it's time to go. I will listen to some of the old ones and laugh probably. I think the direction that we all need to go is spend some time listening. And I agree with you, Marty. These headsets really help because I can actually hear. I'm same as you. I get in a group with a lot of background noise. I can't hear. They're not talking loud enough, or somebody's talking too loud. So I think we need to spend more time listening, and not listening. One of our guests was this guy. He said, "Go givers," and basically his thing was to give more than he received. Always giving something, always giving something. It's called The Go Givers. It's a book series, wonderful book. He said, but listen with the back of your neck. And I'm thinking, what the heck does that mean? And so I asked him when he came on the show. He said, because you never think of the back of your neck. So when you're listening to somebody, listen as if you're thinking of your back of your neck. You're listening to them. You're not to listen to respond, but to listen to them. And he said, there's no class in college or high school called listening. And there should be. Well, it's been great. And to all our fans and people that have been loyal to us, thanks for listening. I love it that we're ending the show with two great friends, and we're signing off. And as what they say is, I think the police office, it's when they do the last call and they sign off, and so we're signing off.
Find Bill and Odell online at thecommonground.show. This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. All rights reserved.
Attention men, here's an important new podcast you need to be listening to.
So this whole issue about prostate and prostate health and all the challenges and that we're having with it, but no one's talking. So that's the reason why I started this podcast, so we can talk, so we can get understanding. I understand I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical individual. I'm just an ordinary, normal guy who had some issues to say, hey, let's talk about this thing.
P is for Prostate with Odell Cleveland. Download anytime where you get your podcasts. And join for the full podcast at www.patreon.com/Odell Cleveland.
Whether you're a big, medium, or small business, managing and growing the bottom line is important. Focus CFO brings the experience and financial acumen of a Fortune 100 Chief Financial Officer to your company at a fraction of the cost. P&L help, internal reporting processes, or any business transitions or events. Focus CFO will help you and your team have a CFO in your company's back pocket. Focus CFO. Learn more at focuscfo.com.